Two non-governmental organizations, NGOs, are bringing a case before the UN's top court against senior Israeli military commanders for allegedly authorizing the murder of those four Al Jazeera journalists. The Hind Rajab Foundation and the Palestinian Center for Human Rights have named the Israeli Chief of General Staff and 7 others. They also accuse Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of presiding over a strategy to eliminate journalists. Of course, the ICC has already issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and the former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes. Joining us now is Dyab Abou Janjah, the chairman at Hind Rajab Foundation. It is a non-profit organization mainly dedicated to the quest for justice in response to the crimes against humanity, war crimes and human rights violations against Palestinians. He joins us live now from Brussels. Thank you so much for joining us. Will this court filing, if you will, make any difference?
Of course, every filing can make a difference, but it is something for the long run. It is a cumulative effort, this filing and other filings, and the fact that these crimes are being documented and are being put on the record of the ICC, but also of national prosecutors across the planet, that cases are being brought against individuals, not just against political leaders, but against rank and file, against officers, against soldiers in many cases, is very important. It is something for the long haul. It is something that requires a lot of patience, but it is something that is instrumental in seeking justice, and we are convinced that this justice eventually will be served.
Yeah, but you've done extensive work examining what happened 2 days ago. Give us a sense of what the chain of command was like and who you've identified as being the culprits. Yes,
of course, in this kind of, let's say, open source intelligence forensic work, you have to depart from the smallest level and go and build up to the highest echelon of in the chain of command. So what we try to do is not to jump immediately to the political responsibility, because it's quite obvious that Benjamin Netanyahu and his ministers are responsible for the systematic targeting of journalists in Gaza since the beginning of the genocide. However, what we try to establish is who shot the missile. And so we identified the drone type that was used, and then we could link that to 1 or 2 squadrons, but we are quite sure that it's 1 squadron called the Black Cobra, the Black Snake Squadron, which is operating Hermes-class drones. And then, of course, this is connected to the type of rocket that was used, which is a Spike-class type. You know, it's quite targeted because, as you know, the Israelis totally confessed that they were wanting, or that they wanted to kill and killed Anas al-Sharif. So if you build upon that, then you end up at the Palmachim air base, where these drones are being operated by several squadrons. Of course, then we filed against the squadron commander. We filed against the commander of the Palmachim air base, and then you build up to the responsibility, obviously, of the Israeli Air Force commander, but also the chief of staff, including also some responsibility for the Unit 8200, which gathers intelligence, military intelligence, cyber intelligence, and actually was spying and using the data of the phones of not only Anas, but also other journalists to assassinate them. So it's a complex image, and we wanted to make it clear that this is something that involves a lot of planning, and that involves also decision up to the highest echelon of the chain of command.
The thing is, it's now become a systematic playbook. You start smearing the person first, and then it goes from there.
Exactly. And this is also why we targeted in our filing, we targeted Avigai Adrai, who is the head of the Arab media unit within the Israeli propaganda machine, because this targeting, this smearing is not just smearing, it is actually preparing the ground for the assassination. It is part of the crime. So it was very important also to observe and to compare. We did not only file and related to the assassination of Anas al-Sharif and his colleagues, but also we added several files that have been meticulously documented through the period of assassination to show that there is indeed, as you say, a playbook. There's a system that is being used and deployed, which is accuse these journalists of being covert terrorists, and then pass to threats and eventually end up killing them. And the idea, of course, the goal is to totally blind the operational scene in Gaza. And the assassination of Anas is definitely connected to the fact that the Israelis at this moment are planning to escalate their onslaught on Gaza. So this is something that is very sinister and very, cynically insane. It is the level of impunity with which the Israelis are communicating about this is something that is, that should shake everyone, not only on the level of the humanity, but on the level of the hubris and the dangerous mindset of this Israeli state at the moment.
And the thing is, it was entirely contemptuous of human norms and values and decency. It was blunt. It was almost arrogant, if you will. And what made it even perhaps doubly worse was that Anas knew that it was coming.
Absolutely. And just for the sake of the argument, even though this is totally judicially nonsense, I mean, they're saying that the targets or Anas al-Sharif in that case is sympathetic to Hamas and showing some pictures and some other stuff. But even if it was the case, even if someone was or is, which I'm not saying it is because it's totally fabricated, but even if he was, and he is not today, he is not a combatant, he's a journalist. For God's sake, even when you have prisoners of war who were combating you, who were combatant 5 minutes ago, and when they surrender and they drop their weapon and they are not armed, they are no more combatant, and killing them is a war crime. Just to show you the level of disregard of international rules that the Israelis are operating with, because they know this very well. I mean, it is totally, shocking to me from a legal perspective, but of course, as you said, also on the human level. But I guess on the human level, we've already seen this, the last 2 years. But this behavior shows now that they are totally gone rogue in terms that they are not caring anymore in sugarcoating any of the murders that they are committing, and they are not at all caring about what the international law says.
And his words echo across the world, do they not? If these words of mine reach you, you know that Israel has succeeded in killing me and silencing my voice. Dyab Abou Janjah is chairman of the Hind Rajab Foundation.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.